Brittney Slays, otherwise known as Brittany Hayes, lead vocalist of Unleash the Archers. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well, thanks. How are you?
Good, good. Happy to be here. Happy to be chatting with you. I know you just came off the road, so thank you for taking some time to chat all things gaming with us.
No worries. Yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. So, one thing I always like to kind of start with is just tell us a little bit about your gaming history. Did you start early on? Was it like a friend, a cousin, a sibling that got you into gaming? What was your entry into this fun world we all play in?
Well, it was actually one of my earliest memories. I don't exactly know. I was really young. I was probably like 4, I think. And I don't remember exactly what the event was. It was probably like my mom's work party or something like that. And we were at like a hall or a Legion or a thing, something like that in when we lived in Winnipeg for a few years. And they had an NES system there. And it was like, of course, way up high to me being tiny, but it was like mounted on like an old like CRT TV kind of thing, mounted on the wall. And my brother and I watched everyone like, you take turns playing or whatever. And we just stood there the whole night watching people play like Duck Hunt and not even doing anything else, not like I don't even remember any. I just remember like this, like Duck Hunt for like who knows how long. And and then so I guess my parents were like, "Ooh, that's for like keeping them entertained. We should get one of those." So they got an NES for us a couple of years later. I don't think we got it right away. And then and yeah, I remember playing like Duck Hunt and Mario and then Mario 3. I don't ever remember playing Mario 2, so I don't know if we had that one. And then yeah, and then they came up with the SNES and we traded up and then so on and so forth until today where I own a Switch of all my own. And yeah, that's kind of where it started. I don't know if you're born a gamer or if it's just something that you see and you fall in love with and it's I think it's probably maybe a little bit of both, but definitely my brother and I got the bug the second we saw Duck Hunt. Yeah.
So early start then.
Yeah, big time.
Have you ever messed with any of like the retro releases that they do where they release like the mini Super Nintendo and the mini NES and
Hmm.
it's got like the 40 preloaded games on there?
Yes, yeah, we have all of them. There's a Sega, I think, one that
Yeah, yeah, there
came
definitely
out,
is.
and we didn't get that one, but we've got the NES, the SNES, the the PlayStation.
Mhm.
Um, there's another one that we have, can't remember exactly, but yeah, we're definitely a collector of consoles, I guess you could say.
That's awesome. So what kind of I mean, we talked a little bit about Mario, Duck Hunt grabbing you early. What were some of the early franchises that you gravitated towards?
Well, definitely Mario. I mean, and Mario Kart and when when Mario 64 came out, man, I played that game for hours and I'm not very good at gaming.
That's
I like
okay.
to do it. Doesn't mean that I'm amazing. So I played for hours just trying to get like every single star and it wasn't there wasn't any internet back then. So it was all about like I'd go into the convenience store down the road and look at like the Nintendo Power magazine and just hope that maybe they had like some sort of hint or something in there about a part that I couldn't get. And so it was mostly, yeah, Mario Kart. I mean, it was funny because when I really started getting into it was the N64 and it was technically my brother's. So I wasn't supposed to be playing it. And I was kind of at his whim of whatever games he wanted to get. So it was like, 007 and couple like weirder ones and Metroid, I think we had, I don't remember. There was a lot of rentals. So you'd get it for like 2 days and then it was gone. So but yeah, it was mostly just like the stereotypical Nintendo franchises until I started playing like when the PlayStation came out. It was like Crash Bandicoot and a lot of those sort of more like trendy games or whatever that were going on. So, but yeah, whatever I could get my hands on.
So is it fair to say you spent a lot of nights at like the local Blockbuster or local rental store grabbing the pick of the week?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
That's odd. That's funny. It's just such like a kind of a lost thing that has just gone away with time. Like those, I grew up the same way. Those Friday nights at Blockbuster, picking out one or two games or one or two
hmm
movies to rent, and it's like that feeling of
hmm
having to get as far as you can for 2 days before you got to get it back.
Exactly. That was one of the things that was great about those little retro mini consoles is
Mhm.
that you'd like start a game and be like, wait a minute, like I think I remember this one. Like, yeah, oh my God, and you totally like it would just bring back memories of yeah, like a whole weekend of like sitting in your, our little IKEA recliner thingy that we had, like just gaming as hard as you can until you have to return the thing on Sunday or whatever it was. So yeah, it was pretty funny. A lot of times it was Scott being like, "Did you play this one?" And I'd be like, "Yes" or "No" or "I have no idea." Probably.
Then you get 5 minutes in and it unlocks something like, oh wait, I do
Uh-huh.
remember that.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely.
I like to think renting was like the precursor to speed running. Like you used to speed run because you
Yeah,
had to.
exactly. That's hilarious. Nice. I like it. Yeah.
So a little bit different type of gaming, but something that you incorporate a lot, like in some social posts, is as Dungeons and Dragons. Kind of the
hmm
tabletop and that aspect of it. How did that start? Did that start the same way, or was that a different entry for you?
That was very recent, actually. That was COVID. That was
Oh, okay.
pandemic related. Yeah, I'd always wanted to play because I'd heard a lot about it from my friends throughout the years, but I was never like in kind of in that group of friends that played it all the time. So it was just people, acquaintances and friends outside of like my main friend circle would be like Brittney, you really like D&D. I think you should play. And I'd be like, yeah, 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 no, I'll get on that. And it was just years of that. And then finally, during the pandemic, we were kind of like, we need to stay in touch with our fans and with each other and do something. So we decided that we would do monthly D&D together as a band. And
Okay.
yeah, so a friend of mine, Dave, is like been playing D&D his whole life. So I was like, you want to be our DM for this and you sort of like help us figure out what the hell we're doing. And so yeah, we just kind of started our own little actually what it started with was um I knew that we had a lot of fans that played D&D. So I started writing a little adventure guide for Apex and Abyss because so many people were coming to me and saying, "Oh, I use your music in my campaign," or like, "Oh my God, can I have the matriarch as my villain on my next, I'm a DM or whatever." And I'd be like, absolutely. And sort of just giving people like little tidbits and stuff that they can use and, um, just kind of expanding on the story for anyone that asked. And then finally, I was kind of like, I should just do like an Apex and Abyss D&D campaign thing. So when Abyss came out, we did a contest for anyone that did the pre-order. 4 people would get the chance to play with us through the little campaign thingy that I had written. And that was, yeah, that was kind of like the beginning of it all. So we played that, which was it was a 2-shot, I guess you'd call it.
Okay.
And 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 we just played the story of Abyss through like D&D styles. And what it was we were all like adventurers that were joining the immortal on his quest.
Okay.
So he was like an NPC and the grandson was an NPC, and we just kind of invented characters around the whole thing. And then we just had such a good time that we were like, let's do it. Let's just keep going. And so I had never played before that. I don't think Scott had either. Andrew had, Grant had, and Nick had kind of played a few times here and there, but he wasn't like, he had never like been a part of a regular group or anything that did it. So
Okay.
um yeah, it was kind of yeah, it's definitely new, but so much fun. And I don't know, I love it. I think it's great. And people have started sending like D&D guides and stuff like that. And I just love it. I'm creating like this awesome little collection on our shelf. So it's been rad.
That's so cool. And how does your character kind of from D&D kind of play out? Is it similar to like I'm guessing it takes a lot from Abyss and Apex and the themes there.
Yeah, there was when we played through Abyss, I was like a drow rogue that was very much um, kind of a lonely adventurer, and then meeting the grandson and the immortal, she kind of starts to come out of her shell because it's like no one's been through as much as that guy has.
Right.
So, so it's kind of like you can't be a grump forever. But the character creation for this sort of just you know random campaign that we've been doing recently, it was just totally like what would I want to do? So I'm like a um it's kind of similar to I guess me personally, but um it, it it's this half orc who's like super tough and really um just like huge, but also kind of dumb, but loves animals. And so he's like this really big warrior, but he's also like wanting to protect the things that are smaller than him all the time. So that was just kind of, I was like, I just want to play like a big, dumb, lovable kind of character. And so that was where that came from. And Andy's like always a wizard. So I don't know if that has anything, but the rest of the guys have kind of played around a little bit with their characters. But
It's fine. It's like the big scary looking monster, but it's got this the soft heart for like the animals and like it's kind of the
exactly.
protector. Like
I don't know if it'll bring up there. That's
yes.
Bork.
So that's your character.
Yeah, that's Bork the orc.
That is awesome. So, and it seems like there's a lot of cool crossover between like themes from gaming and like maybe some games you grew up with, and obviously talking about how your D&D aspect kind of pulled a little bit from the lure of Apex and Abyss. So,
Mhm.
was that kind of like, in the writing process for the music, do you find yourself kind of drawing from storylines of games or fantasy that you grew up with?
I mean, it's not exact, but it's definitely been influenced for sure. Um, I I always kind of pull from all of my favorites, whether it's movies or comic
Mhm.
books or books or video games. It's always affecting the way that I write and what I'm writing about. So, like Apex and Abyss was a lot of kind of comic book and movie inspiration, and then Behold the Devastation, which was our first record, was a
Mhm.
what wasn't a concept album. It was just a collection of songs. And there was a couple on there that were inspired by video games. Um, like Dead Space was such a rad game. It
Oh,
just like
yes.
scared the crap out of me. And I really, really enjoyed that game. And so there was a song that was kind of mildly inspired by that on there. And yeah, I mean, Scott and I played through a few together that are just kind of, like the epic tales, the hero's tale, the warrior's journey, or whatever it's called. Um, like The Witcher and a couple others like that. That's just kind of in that general epicness of fantasy storytelling have sort of made their way into it. Yeah.
So in Dead Space, it's why we're recording this about 5 days before Halloween, and that's one of those games this time of year. Like I always find myself firing that up, firing up Resident Evil just to get into like the spooky season mood.
hmm I'm really excited actually. I was thinking that because they did the whole remaster
Right.
for the PS5, I was thinking that it would be awesome to play through it again because I just remember being so struck by how amazing that game was and just so scary and just the sound design and everything was all so perfect and I just loved it. So, and then there was another game that's coming out, or maybe it's already out. That was like Dead Space inspired.
Oh
Um,
yes,
can't remember what it's called now.
I played through it on the PS5. It is gonna bug me if I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
It's like you're in like space jail. Um,
yeah,
oh my God, I'm taking a time out to Google this because this is gonna drive
do
me
it.
nuts.
I know it will. Yeah, I really wanted to play that one as well because it was kind of like just like the Game Ranks review was basically just like, if you like Dead Space, you're gonna like this. So it's like, okay, sounds good to me.
I'm pulling this. I enjoyed the playthrough. It's not to spoil, like not spoiling anything, but basically the character winds up in a kind of like in a he basically is a cargo driver for space, and through a unfortunate series of events finds himself in this prison where there's some spooky stuff going on, and it's one of those that like you turn a corner. It very much gives you the Dead Space vibes because
Awesome.
you turn around a corner and something jumps out at you.
Yeah,
um
nice.
and it's very much like you said. The reviews all said if you liked Dead Space, you will enjoy it, and I would definitely echo that. I'm
Good.
pulling up
Yeah.
the release list now because that's going to drive me crazy. That is so going to drive me crazy. Anyway, while I'm googling that, what are some other kind of games that you've run through? We've mentioned Dead Space. What were some of those, like, PS2, PS3, Xbox 360 sort of games that really stuck with you?
Yeah, it was really funny because we made the switch. We were like we were Xbox people, and then we saw the PS5, and we were like, oh, all of a sudden we're PS5 people now. It's kind of or PlayStation people, I guess you would call it. Oh God, I can't even think right now. We owned like so many Xbox games, and now I just can't even think of a single one of them. My brain is so fried.
We're both in the
Um,
same boat. I can't remember a game I beat 3 months ago. I found
oh
it on
no.
Google, Callisto Protocol.
Yes, that's the one. Nice. Good job. Um,
So only took a little bit of Googling. I'll take that as a win.
yeah, good. That's awesome. I know I watched Scott play through Red Dead Redemption. Um, wasn't really my thing, but I definitely I'm a backseat gamer as just as much as I love actually playing it. I love watching Scott play. So there's been a few that I like couldn't wrap my head around Elden Ring. It was way too big. So I just mostly sat and watched him play that one and Skyrim. I played a little bit of that in the beginning, but again, it was so big. I'm like a Breath of the Wild kind of a girl.
Oh, what did you have you got into
I,
Tears of the Kingdom at all?
yes, yeah, I have, but there's just no time, unfortunately, right now. We're just finalizing all the details on the new album and everything, and so um, and then getting ready for tour and all that stuff. So there was I was trying to like fit like 30-minute plays in where like I could, but it's just so hard because the game gets you so sidetracked and you're just like, why am I running through this field again? Oh, right. Okay. I was trying to go, do this thing or whatever. And so 30 minutes really you don't get much done. Um,
You might not even
but
get onto the main objective. You might be just detoured somewhere.
totally, absolutely. Like most of that game is detours. So, but yes, no, I finished Breath of the Wild and I'm hoping to keep going here on Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, no, I'm trying to think. I'm like trying to like picture our shelf of what our 360 games were, and I can't even think about like a single one of them. Oh, Portal, yeah.
Oh, that was a good one.
Here's Scott. What else
Thanks,
did we play?
Scott.
Right? Yeah, but that was you. You played the Red Deads. There was a few where we were like, no, GTA is not really my thing. Destiny 2, was that the one? There was a couple other ones. What was the co-op one that we did like beginning to end, which is very rare for us. We both have this problem with like finishing games. We don't want them to end, so we don't like do the final boss on a lot of things. It's pretty funny actually.
I think we're all guilty of that sometimes. I've been paused on. I don't even want to say how many games I've been paused on throughout this year.
Yeah, yeah, right. Um, yeah, God, I can't even think of them. I don't know. Someone suggest all your favorite 360s in the comments down
Yes,
below, and
drop it in the
I'll
comments.
just be like, yes, no, yes, no.
It'll be just like playing the SNES, the remake console, where you get 5 minutes into one and you're like, oh wait, I did play that.
Yes, yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Super excited to hear that you have new music on the way, and possibly a tour on the way. I recently saw you guys perform at Mad with Power, and that's kind of got my creative juices mixing to start this series. And so
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Ty was cool enough to come on here. He was the first guest I had on here, and I mean, for one, his gaming setup is just amazing. The background that
Yeah.
he had is just phenomenal. I was jealous the whole time. But how was that experience for you guys being gaming fans? Like, it must have just been such a fun festival.
Oh, it was rad. It was it sucks because I was like, oh man, I really got to get out there and play. And I just didn't even get a chance to play a single thing. I didn't get nothing. I was just like full bore beginning to end because we brought Lenny with us.
Oh,
And
okay.
so yeah, I was like constantly going back to the hotel and just we had a nanny. So she was, I mean, well taken care of, but it was just kind of I wasn't really all there headspace wise. So it sucked. I really wanted to play, but it was just awesome with all of our friends that were there. Basically, it was like the entire Twitch and Discord community that we've built up over the last couple of years were at that festival. So um when we did get time to hang out, it was just constantly like, hey, oh my God, oh yeah, like, and people would say like their Twitch, usernames, and I'd be like, oh my God, and it's like, yeah, fine, nice to finally meet you in person, and so it was a lot of that. It was super rad, and it was our first show in 18 months, so it was a little shaky, but but we had a really good time. Aside from the actual performance side of things, so
Blair,
it was
I,
awesome. A great memory for us. Yeah.
I was at the barricade for your guys' performance, and nothing seemed off to me. So
Oh, good. I'm glad. We're good at hiding it. There was one point where literally we were all just like looking at each other like, oh, fuck. Like, what do we do? And I think we were like off the click so bad and it had like an accent on it. We don't have many with accents, but of course, the one that we go off has the accent. So it's like, big buck, buck, buck. So
oh,
then when
geez.
that's wrong, it's like, buck, buck, big buck, 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 big buck, like, and you're like trying to figure it out. Oh God, it's so bad. But we figured it out. So I'm glad that no one noticed.
Like I said, I was barricade the whole time. Nothing seemed to miss to me. So yeah, it was an awesome show. And just I love and Ty and I talked a lot about this when I had him on here. Just the awesome combination of let's get all of these just super cool power metal bands together. Let's
Hmm.
bring all of these just cool retro arcade and pinball games and just have a
Hmm.
really good time for like 8 hours for 2 days in a row.
Totally. Totally. I think it's a great idea. When we posted about it that we were playing it, we had a few friends from around this area be like, "What? That's amazing. Why don't we have one of those?" And I was like, "Oh, let's go to Wisconsin. Like, come on. It's right there." But yeah, it's such a cool idea. And I really hope that it takes off and is like very successful and just gets bigger and bigger. And I mean, I guess it's not exactly not like you can drag a bunch of arcade machines out to a field somewhere, Vakken style, but maybe, in a barn or I don't know. I just hope that it does really well for him.
If anybody could figure it out, it would be Ty.
I think so. Yeah, that guy is a master of all things business.
He's awesome. I loved having him on there, and we talked a lot about kind of like the Discord and Twitch community. And I know Unleash the Archers has their own kind of community in that space as well. How did that
Mhm.
kind of start up, and how has that evolved since its beginning?
Well, it started with when the pandemic happened, and we all started Twitch streaming basically. And was watching a few other streamers, and they had Discords, and it was like this awesome place where you could go after the stream and sort of talk about everything. And so I started one for Unleash the Archers, and it's like, hey, everyone, after Brittney stream, after Andy stream, or whatever, come back here and we'll hang out. And during the pandemic, it was just the best. It was like, every weekend it was just like hangs on Discord and made so many amazing friends on there. And it just kind of grew. And at one point we were kind of like, oh, this is getting so big. Like there was a time when I knew everyone on here, and now I don't recognize a lot of names. And it's kind of like, okay, well, let's, we created like a set of rules and community guidelines and all that sort of thing. And we've just been kind of trying to manage it because I do think that it's the future. It's so much better than Facebook
Mhm.
and Instagram. And it's just kind of, you know, um, a little bit more personal space. So we've really been trying to keep it as a bit more intimate as opposed to like Facebook and Instagram, which are just like announcement platforms, you know.
Right.
Discord, you can go and actually probably talk to us. Um, Not lately, mind you. I've been like busy for like the last 3 months straight. I haven't even gone on there at all, but I hate it because I want to go say hi to everybody, see how everybody's doing and stuff. And it's just, yeah, I don't know. The pandemic was a horrible thing, but also it was amazing
We
because
learned a lot from it, I feel like.
so much came from it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we learned a lot from it. And I mean, we've like you had mentioned earlier, it's just so cool that bands were able to still connect with their fans even though they couldn't tour. And I'm
Hmm.
sure getting in the studio was next to impossible. And especially for UTA, because if memory serves me, and as you and I have both experienced foggy brains tonight, but I
Yeah.
believe Abyss was that end of 2020, early 2021 that came out, or mid
It was
2020.
like August 2020. Yeah.
So that, the tour, like you said, Mad with Power was your first show in 18 months, but we were able to do things like Twitch and Discord or even like Zoom calls like this and like still
Hmm.
hang out and connect and check in on everybody.
Right. Yeah. It was awesome. Like just kind of discovering that place. And not only that, but the Twitch like music community when we first hopped on there because we it was really strange. We were on tour with Dragon Force when the pandemic happened. So we were
Oh my God, I
like
remember that.
we woke up in
You were just outside of Chicago, weren't you?
yeah, in Minnesota. Where were we? Is it?
It,
Yeah, I think we were in Minnesota. And uh we woke up and our tour manager was like, guys, like so that COVID thing that was kind of happening in China and then Europe and then possibly now on the East Coast, yeah, it's here. And the venue will not let us inside, and the entire city is closing down. We need to get to an airport now. And we were just like, oh my God. And we started like watching the news, and Canada made like our prime minister made an announcement being like, yeah, you guys have 3 days before we close the borders to get home.
God.
So we were just like, oh shit. But we had been talking with the Dragon Force guys, and Herman was already like one of the bigger streamers on Twitch for
Mhm.
musicians. And so we were all like, oh, cool, Twitch is so cool. Like, let's get into it. And then, of course, it was just like the whole world shut down, and it was like, well, let's do it, like no excuses now. So it was really like immediately after, oh, I'm all blurry. Oh, okay, there
There
we
you are now.
go. It was like immediately after we got back and this whole pandemic thing happened. It was kind of like, okay, this is the whole world is in lockdown right now. This is a thing. Let's get on Twitch. And so it's just we were I'm not gonna say like one of the first, but I feel like one of the first bands to get on there and start doing stuff on there. So it was yeah, it was kind of interesting to see the state of music on Twitch at that time where there wasn't really, like it was Herman
Mhm.
and what's his face, Rocksmith streamers,
Oh, right,
and
right.
which is like Guitar Hero, but you play the actual song
Like you learn a little bit along the way.
and
Like
you play actual guitar and you play like, and it's got like the lines and all the things, but it's not buttons, it's like the actual notes.
it's
And
like playing tablature almost, isn't it? Like on the
yeah,
screen now.
exactly. And so it's like if you're a good sight reader, you can just like knock it out of the park right away. But um, so there was a whole bunch of that. So we were just kind of like, this is awesome. And it was so tight knit, and everyone was always in everyone else's stream. And it was just really this kind of like super awesome community that existed. And we were just like, hi guys, like we're here. Do you want to hang out? Let's be friends. And so it was just like this super awesome place to be. And it still is, but it's a little bit more saturated now. So some and it's kind of way more popular. And there's a whole bunch of other different places to stream, and like YouTube's in the game now, and it's a little crazy. But back then it was small and awesome.
It's definitely it's grown and changed a little bit. Like even Facebook's trying to get in on it now. They're kind of trying to copy the Twitch model. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's weird to see them like on the tail end of something instead of on the front end of it.
Yeah, right. Well, not surprising. They're kind of not exactly the forefront of technology anymore.
This is very true. But speaking of Facebook and Discord and Twitch and all of those awesome places, where can anybody watching catch up with Unleash the Archers? Where can they find out about your new music getting released, your tour that's coming out? Where can they keep connected with you guys? Obviously, Twitch and Discord we've talked a lot about, but where else can they keep up with you?
Instagram's probably like the best place. We post like most regularly on there. Discord, we usually post if there's going to be like a merch drop or something like that, or like the album drop. We'll usually post there first, so that our Discord friends and fans can get at everything first. So we'll always give them like a few hours, sometimes a day, before we post it to Instagram. So Discord and Instagram are probably the best places. And YouTube, we've got we're starting to put like our own stuff up on our YouTube channel, just trying to grow a little bit on there, playthrough videos and that kind of thing. And of course, our D&D is up on there as well. Um, and then I would say that's probably the best. Yeah. I mean, we're on Facebook, but it's not like we used to be. It's mostly just like the auto post from Instagram. So
And your
yeah.
guys' merch drops are awesome. Like all of your art, it immediately grabs me. I feel like it ties in with that fantasy so well. So like that
Thank you.
always your the art always grabs me very
Yeah.
quickly.
That's Bo Bradshaw. He's unbelievably talented. Yeah.
Does he do your album art as well?
He's done our EPs, some of our EPs, like the Abyss Wave and Acoustic X
Mhm.
EPs. He did those ones. And then the like the album artwork is all different people. Yeah.
It's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I will drop a lot of those links below. So keep up with them on Discord, on Twitch, on Instagram. If you want to check it out on Facebook too, I'll keep all those links below. But I cannot thank you enough for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know just fresh off the road and you've got an album in the works. And I think I speak for a lot of people when I say we're super excited to see what comes out on that album.
Yeah. So we're excited to share it with everybody. It's been a while. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. Check out the links below, and we will see you next time.
thanks for having me.